This is going to be probably my favorite section of the entire CLAT course, and it's just because I am a geek for formulas and functions inside of spreadsheets. And so I'm going to pull up my presentation here and talk a little bit about formulas and spreadsheets. Now I'll just go ahead and open up this file that I created, which I called My Funky Spreadsheet. Now, I've spent a very, very large percentage of my life working in front of spreadsheets, or specifically Excel. By far and away, Excel more than anything else. And it took me a long time to get comfortable with the idea that, with something besides Excel, frankly. And up until very recently, the Google Spreadsheets was a clunky piece of software. The scrolling was all weird, and it would be slow in certain respects. But there was a major update to Google Docs a couple of weeks ago, and it has really gone a long way to making spreadsheets usable, for a serious spreadsheet user like me. I wouldn't necessarily use Google Docs if I had a 40,000 line spreadsheet, but certainly anything smaller than a couple hundred lines, and certainly anything that I would want to do just to rough up some numbers, I would definitely reach towards Google Docs rather than Excel. And just like in my own personal in my own personal configuration, I can actually bring up Google Docs faster than I can load Excel. And I say this as someone who wrote a book about Excel. There's still quite a lot that you can do inside of Excel, and I'll talk a little bit about those things that you just can't replicate inside of Google Docs. But Google Spreadsheets is a formidable challenger to Excel.
Personally, I would like to see a list of things that are of comparing Google Docs spreadsheets to Excel, because I have noticed that I've done it myself, imported Excel documents, and I've noticed that there are things that just aren't there.
Right. So there are, I don't have off the top of my head a list that I can link you to, but I want to I want to sort of introduce a really, really important issue in response to that we're going to go into in a lot of detail in the third session next week, which is what happens when you do import Office files into Microsoft Office files into Google Docs. And certainly, if you have Visual Basic macros baked into your Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, those will get stripped out immediately. Google Docs doesn't speak macros. And probably more obvious and more immediate, you'll see that the formatting doesn't always translate very well. And we're going to do that with a word processing document. I'm going to sort of show you some differences in formatting. And that really is a major distinction between that's in people's mind when they're contemplating using Google Apps, which is, I have all of these documents that I've formatted at great length. All of it's just going to get obliterated if I try to load. All that formatting will be obliterated if I try to load it into Google. What should I do? Google has progressively gotten better and better and better about matching its own formatting options to Google to the Microsoft, but it's still not perfect yet. There are a handful of functions, and actually there's a link. I'm going to pull up a function list for you. I just typed in Google Spreadsheet functions under Google. This particular link is in the documentation for the course, and this just shows a long list of all of the functions that you can run inside of Google Spreadsheets. There's just a whole lot of them. There are a number of them that are added all the time. I'm going to show you some special ones in a few minutes. But some of them are missing. Like, I don't know if any of you are super Excel freaks. There was a new function in Excel 2007 called SUMIFS, S-U-M-I-F-S. It's like a powerful version of the SUMIF function. And that particular function was omitted. I'll just do like some basic functions that everybody's used if you use functions. If I just type in sum in the parentheses, you probably had this experience where you're inside of Excel and you've gotten this far, and you want to use the arrow keys instead of typing in an expression like C6 colon C12. Here you can actually use the arrow keys, and then here I'm going to do the shift arrow key to specify the name of the range, or specify the dimensions of the range. In this particular formula, which I'm not going to explain if you don't already have familiarity with formulas, we'll take all of these numbers and sum them together. And that particular, it's one of these little things that that I really needed in order to be won over to Google Spreadsheets, which is typing a formula and then a left-facing parentheses and then moving the arrow around to get the cell references you want. Like, that wasn't always available, but but if you use formulas a lot, then you'll need that particular formula. So let's try if error again. If I do if error, this value divided by 0, it ought to return true, and it's not doing it. That's really funny. I have no idea what I've been able to get it to work in the past, but it doesn't like it there for some reason. So yeah, these all the formulas that you're already familiar with. Most of the formulas that you're already familiar with, I should say, if you use a lot of formulas inside of Excel, will be available to you in Docs, and you should definitely take a look at that reference to see if any specific formulas, like esoteric ones, that you need are on the list of ones that are supported. Now, Google Docs also has a few really, really neat formulas, which I list in the documents. And I'm going to show you a couple of them, or 3 of them right now, which is Google Finance, Google Translate, and Google Lookup. If I type in Google Finance, I can enter, it asks me for 2 arguments, a symbol and an attribute. And by symbol, it's just a stock ticker that they're looking for. If I type in MSFT inside of quotation marks and then price, Google Finance will return to me the current stock price of Microsoft. It says down here at the very bottom of the screen, quotes may be delayed up to 20 minutes. So you're going to have to pay if you want real-time quotes. So that's pretty cool, and it's really easy to use this formula. If I wanted to look at Microsoft, Google, and Yahoo, I could have those elements be my rows, and I could type in price, say volume, and then market cap. And these particular arguments, price, volume, and market cap, are very specific. They're not arbitrary arguments. They're arguments that Google Finance is trained to be able to parse. So they're important. And I'll just type in Google Finance. Oops. And I'll type in, let's say, C7 and D6. And I just threw in some $signs there, which is something called absolute references. And that will allow me to populate this overall spreadsheet, which has some interesting information about the stock volume and the price and the overall market capitalization of these 3 companies.
Will that continually update?
Yes, it will. Well, it will update with a lag of approximately 20 minutes.
Okay, so 20 minutes from now, you might have different information in that spreadsheet.
Well, I may have different information 1 minute from now. But I can be guaranteed that the information is probably going to be around 20 minutes old. If you wanted, second by second information, you'd have to pay. People pay enormous amounts of money, but this stuff becomes much less valuable. 20 minutes later. So it's just one of the neat things. Like if you could set up your entire financial portfolio up in a Google Docs spreadsheet and have charts and everything, and it would all update in pretty much real time, which is just super neat. I mean, people like me who have been using spreadsheets for years and years, still I still have to sort of remind myself that I can stream data real time from the internet. Using this stuff. Yes.
We had a question as to how you did that so quickly. I see that you referenced the actual row names for
That's correct.
getting your information into that. So like C7 actually says MSFT, and that's why it's filling into the formula. And then also
That's
D6
correct.
says price.
Yeah. So basically, and this is, the Google Finance function takes two different arguments, and both of those arguments are pieces of text. And I could either put those pieces of text directly inside of the function, so I could have Google Finance parentheses MSFT comma price, or I could have those pieces of text that I want to use as arguments as cells elsewhere inside of my spreadsheet. And so in this particular case, I have, I know that I don't want to type in Google Finance with MSFT, 3 different times. I only want to have that particular data value in one place. And so I'll just stick that over here and have these formulas reference that text value. And you can see, this dollar sign here will hold the column. So even though, as I shift my cursor from, this cell to the next cell, you can see that the E shifted, the reference to volume shifted here, but the reference to the C7 stayed the same. And if I move my cursor over another little notch, I can see that now the second argument references the cell in F6, but this dollar sign prevented the C from shifting in Microsoft. So in the Microsoft piece of text. And so I just wrote a function like this and copied it, and it works. I have a whole chapter on absolute relative structured references in Head First Excel, and basically almost everything maps over to this. So does that answer your question?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Can you build charts around data derived from Google Finance?
Oh, you bet, absolutely. I mean, this data is as good as any other data. If I just click under Insert Chart, and I'm moving quickly, but you can see the preview here. Actually, my screen isn't large enough to find the OK button down here. But here's a preview of a. Hopefully you have a. Actually, hold on. I want to make this work for us. I can't make it work. But I basically just selected my data, of price, and I went to Insert Chart, and by default it's set to columns. And you can see down here what the chart would look like if I had a little bit bigger screen and could flow the chart into it.
Why does each
stock
bar
price.
highlight when you hover over it?
Why does what?
Each bar seems to highlight when you hover over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I click on it, it gives me information about it. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's highlighting to let me know that I can click on it, and it'll tell me the data value. Oh, but let's see. Oh, here I pressed Enter, and now here's my chart. Okay. So short answer to your question is absolutely. By all means, you can create charts, and so you should, off of this type of data or any type of data.
It's very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I have another
Okay.
question to follow up that.
Yep.
Are there any other real-time responses like that are available?
Sure. Well, there's a few of them, and actually, I haven't even shown you the really neat ones. I'm going to blow through Google Translate. Google Translate does basically what you would expect it to do. If I have, an expression "ciao a tutti," this means "hello everyone" in Italian, and if I type in Google Translate, I can refer to that particular cell, and then my other two arguments are from language and to language, and I know this is Italian, so the expression is IT, and the to language is English, EN. And actually, let's make it French. Why not? This will translate that expression from Italian to French,
Oh my gosh.
which says bonjour à tous. And I can, and you don't even need to translate. You actually don't need to use those extra the to from arguments on the end. I'm pretty sure. I've had spotty results with this, but I think if you just type in Google Translate and then the one cell, yeah, there you go. It'll say it knows that I'm speaking in English, and so it'll translate to hello all. So if somebody sends you a spreadsheet that you need translated, then you have the full power of Google Translate at your fingertips.
That's really cool. So this is Craig jumping in. That means that if you were creating a whole database or list of data you need to do for different web pages, you could just create an additional cell for every language you wanted to auto-populate.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, let's see. Let's say we wanted. I think NL is Dutch. IT is Italian. EN is English. FR is French, and I wonder what German. I bet German is DE. I'm just guessing. So here we are. I was just trying to show off a little bit, and Google Translate this particular cell C13 from Italian to Dutch, English, French, and German. So here you go. Let's see. Yep, that worked. So yes, to answer your question, you could do that. All right. So we're starting to lag behind, but there's one thing that is really, really incredible. The most powerful Google spreadsheet formula that I want to share with you, and that is Google Lookup. So what Google Lookup does is it will take. I'll type in Google Lookup. It will take an entity and an attribute, a completely arbitrary entity and a completely arbitrary attribute. So if the thing that I wanted to know was the population of Chicago, I could type in Chicago and population and then do Google Lookup, and my entity would be Chicago. Let me just get my references right. And my attribute would be the population. If I press enter, it will give me an answer. And if I type in, say, a few other places, London and Amsterdam, I can take those particular, I can use the same formula to get the answer. Basically, any attribute that you're interested in of anything, the Google Lookup function will look that up. And so if I click on the result of that formula and then look at the link that it gives me, I can see where Google got that information. And so Google got the population of Chicago from infoplease.com. Who knows how Google actually selected that. And it got the population of London from BritainExpress.com. So it's just, I'm not sure I would necessarily, you never know where Google is getting this data, and I'm not sure I would necessarily rely on it for anything really important. If I add another attribute, say size, and copy and paste, that information, it's actually taking a second to update, right? It gives me kind of a weird result. I think Amsterdam's probably larger than 800 by 600 millimeters, and I don't even know what it means to say that London is 321 bytes. But it's if you want to look up the property of a thing, just purely in an abstract sense, then you can use the Google Lookup folder for that.